What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. In case you didn't know, Tom Vullo is Rebel Scum. Well, at least he will be shortly. He's already been Imperial Scum in a previous game a few years back, and now it's time for him to try the other side. So I got a text from him. He wants to join the Star Wars game that's coming up. He thinks he has some free time, and he always has a seat at my table. So I told him what we were doing, my plan for first level, getting right into Star Wars Rebel Era campaign. And he told me what he wants. And now it's up to me to make his character. So I decided I'm going to use this opportunity to teach you how to make a D20 Star Wars character. So let's make sure we have everything we need. First and foremost, definitely going to need to have the copy of the Star Wars core, a revised core rulebook handy. And because of the choices for this campaign, I'm also going to have the Alien Anthology at my disposal. Ultimate Alien Anthology for the second edition, second printing, of the game. So why don't we get right into it, and you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so for this campaign, I wanted to do something a little different. We're actually starting at second level, not first, because every one of the characters is going to have one level of Force Adept. Now, this is a Rebel Era campaign. I've done it several times, so I just want to mix things up and try something a little different. And this time, the idea I had is that they're all, to some level, some degree, Force users. So they can't be Jedis in this era, obviously. And what they want to do with it, where they're going to go from here, that's going to be totally up to them. Maybe they're not going to be interested in continuing it and just go for other classes. We'll see. But this is where we're all starting. So Tom wanted a charismatic character. A noble class is what he wanted. So he's getting a noble Force Adept. We're gonna find a race and try to help min-max his ability to be charismatic. And because of that, we'll be going through the Ultimate Alien Anthology. Now, I do want a lot of heavy books. I do want there to be more human characters or close humanoid species like Zabrak or Chiss, because the Empire deals with them a little bit better. So the last time we played a Rebel Era campaign, nobody was anywhere near anything human. It did cause a lot of problems from time to time in the campaign with dealing with the Empire. So this way, let's start with Tom then, okay? Since I'm making his character here for him right now from scratch, we're going to make him one of the human species. And I already know what I think is going to be best for him. A Zeltron. Let me tell you about them. Throughout the galaxy, they are known as hedonists, which is far from what Tom is in real life. But he does like to take on interesting characters, and I think he's going to have fun with this. Now, their personalities are a bit passionate and lustful, but also can be a little bit manipulative, which is, I think, the angle that Tom's going to be going for here. Now, although they are what's called a near-human species, physically they look completely human. Their skin tones can range, however, a little bit beyond the human tone, but we're gonna give him a more pink, closer to a pink peach kind of color, just to get a little bit easier for Imperials to want to deal with him, because he's going to look like them, and we all know the Empire hates anyone that doesn't look like them. So yeah, a Zeltron. Now, the Zeltrons are very quick as a species, so he's going to be getting a +1 initiative modifier on top of his dexterity. But they're really known for a almost Force-like ability of empathy. They can feel, they know what the emotions are of people around them. They use this in social situations. And especially with things like, you can imagine like gathering information and diplomacy and even bluff, that's going to come in handy with. But it doesn't quite stop there. They're a little bit more than emotional readers. They also have powerful pheromones. And these pheromones are going to add to their ability to manipulate suggestively to individuals. The pheromones are going to reach out like 30 feet, 10 meters, centered from Tom's Zeltron character, and give him a bonus. Again, much like his emotional empathy and ability to sense emotions, this is going to be allowing him to now manipulate emotions with his pheromones, giving him further bonuses, trying to manipulate people, trying to bluff people, trying to be diplomatic or intimidating people. I mean, this is what Zeltrons do. Zeltrons will talk and convince a person into just about anything. And I almost forgot that these Zeltrons are also natural-born entertainers, and no matter what class they take, they're always going to have an option to build up skill points in entertainment, just as if it was a class skill. So I think that pretty much covers Tom's species, his race, the alien that he's going to be playing for the group. Now let's check out his two classes. Now, as a first-level noble, he's going to get an ability to name one of his cross-class skills as a permanent character skill, permanent class skill, no matter what class he takes. So that'll be interesting to see. I'm going to go through them and see what I think is going to work best, considering his force and his noble classes. Maybe there's one we want to excel with, or maybe there's one we want to pick up from scratch that neither of them has. I'm going to take a look at that and see which one works best. Now, a number of times a week, a noble is able to use their other class special ability at first level of favor. And it does just that. It lets them call in a favor from one of the many contacts that they've made, being a noble. And at this level, it's giving them a +1 bonus on that. So depending on the difficulty, the DC will be set, but he's going to get a +1 bonus when he makes that roll. He's also a first-level Force Adept. So I want to take a look and see what that's going to bring to the character. Now, the first-level Force Adept is going to be bringing Tom, it's going to open up to him one of the three aspects of the Force. There's Alter, there's Control, and there's Sense. So we're going to choose one of these to be his primary that he's going to be starting with. And that's what he's going to be able to build upon in gaining Force abilities later on. Now, as soon as he reaches second level Force Adept, he's going to open up to a second of the third. And then by fourth level, he gets a bonus feat at third. And then fourth level, he will get the third and final Force class of abilities that he hasn't taken previously before. So we're going to look over those and see which one is going to be best to start this Zeltron Noble Charismatic BS artist for Star Wars that Tom wants to play. So looking at his Force options, of the three Force feats that he's starting with as a Force Adept, we're going to go with Alter. We're going to go with Alter because that's the one that eventually gives Mind Trick. Jedi Mind Trick. Yeah, that's what we're going to be going with Tom. He's going to be starting with Alter. So now that's going to affect the skills that his character is going to have open to him. That's a possibility. Maybe it'll be a Force skill that he has permanently opened up to him because of his noble class. I'm still thinking about that. So, Affect Mind, I think, is going to be his strong point with his Force skills. I think that's going to be best suited for what he and the party, he has in mind that the party is going to be needing from him. That's a good place to start. And I also think that that's exactly what we're going to use for his noble bonus skill. That's going to count toward any level that he has. Because even if he abandons being a force user, I want him to have the ability to continue to be able to affect minds. It's just very fitting for what he's looking for. Yeah, so that's the way we're going to go with that. Now, points. But you wish I started with that. And other things to talk about. So all ability scores for the players are starting at 10. 10 points for free. And on top of that, I'm giving them 20 points that they can spend at a 1.1 ratio in order to raise ability scores. No score can be raised higher than 18 unless a racial adjustment, a species adjustment, alien adjustment will put it over that score. So let's figure out where we want these points for Tom. Okay, that's easy. Unless when Tom sees the sheet, he wants to move a couple of points around or something. I'm seeing this character as really spending his life using his wits and his tongue and his charisma to get through everything. So we're gonna give his charisma an 18 score. We're gonna put 12 on everything else. Now that still leaves 2 points. 2 points. And we're going to put them on dexterity. We're going to make that dexterity 14 instead of 12. Yeah, 14 instead of 12. That's going to work. Now let's take a look at the race again. So going back to the ultimate alien anthology, we see that they have a -2 on both their constitution and their wisdom. But Tom is going to be getting an extra +4 on his damn charisma. All right, so Khan then gets knocked down to 10. His wisdom gets knocked down to 10, leaving them both average. But that 18 is going up to 22. For his charisma. That's the way I think this character should start. Yeah, that's looking good. Now, as far as working the saves, the base attack, and the other level class dependent abilities when you're doing dual class, multi-class character like this, is simply just to add them up. That's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at first level nobles, base attack, their saves, their vitality, and we're going to put that all together, add those all up, and see what we get here. Hello, I'm doing it right now. So I see from the noble being first level, Tom is going to be getting a +0 base attack because of that class, as well as a base fort of 0, a +1 on reflex, and a +2 on his will. Now, his defense also starts off at a base of 2, and his reputation a 1. He is a noble. Since I'm right next to it here on the sheet, his dexterity is 14, which will give him a 2 on that initiative. All right, now, so for Force Adept, we see that base attack at first level is also +0. The forts are a little bit different, so we're going to be getting a +1 on the Fortitude save, raising it from 0 to +1. The reflex save adds 1. He already had 1 to that because of noble, raising it to a +2. Now he had a +2 as a noble for will, and he gets another +2 first level for Force Adept, giving his willpower save a +4. Now we're going to add the ability scores on top of that. His Constitution 10 gives him a +0 modifier. His reflex is dependent on his dexterity, which is 14, giving him a +2, raising that 2 to a grand total of a 4 for a reflex save. And we see 4 points between the two classes for will, and his will gives him a +1, so that's starting him off with a whopping +5 will save bonus for his second level character. Coming along pretty quick. Now let's see here. Noble and the Force Adept as far as vitality goes. I see that the Noble has 1d6 and 1d8 for the Force Adept. I'm going to give out max hit points to start with for the second level characters. So that would be a 14. That'll be a 14 total for vitality with Tom's starting Noble Force Adept. Defense is, wounds. Wounds is completely just your con. Just your con. So that's 10 right there. Once your vitality is gone, you start taking wound damage, and wound damage, which is also what you take for critical. If you take critical damage, it goes right to wounds. And when your wounds are down to 0, you're dead. That's it. So we have the base attack of 0, reputation of +1, starting initiative of +2, with a fortitude of 1, a reflex of 4, a will of 5. All right. So with melee attacks, his base attack is 0. We're going to add his strength modifier, 12. Gives him a +1 strength modifier. So with any melee attacks, unless some masterwork item has, precision on it or accuracy or something, what we are looking at is a +1 for any and all melee attacks that the Rebel Scum Tom Vullo will be making. Now, his dexterity is a +2 modifier because of the 14 score, which will make him a better shot than a fighter with a vibro sword, because he's going to be having a total of 2 for his ranged attacks. All right, looking pretty good. Dexterity modifier of 2 is also going to be added on to the class bonuses he has for defense. He has 0 for size modifier, and there's no miscellaneous bonus that's happening right now. So his total defense, starting with a base of 10, 2 for dexterity on top of that, is giving him right now a 12 defense to start with. He might be taking a few lumps. He might want to stand behind Ron Soldier. Now, let's take a look at skills here. Let's take a look at skills. We find the Noble's list of skills. We see that the Noble has appraise. Well, that's fitting, right? Computer use, which is something that just about everyone in Star Wars should have, unless you come from a backwater planet. Craft. Not to see what Tom wants to be crafty at. I don't know. I'll leave that up to him. I'm sure he's going to surprise me. He always does. Disguise and entertain. Disguise and entertain, which, because of being a Zeltron, he automatically has entertain anyway. So that's more than just a noble class to him now. That's a forever class skill that he can take now. Knowledge, we're going to give him knowledge because he's a noble and he's supposed to get it. Profession. Reading, writing is noble. Ride is noble. He's still like mounts, I guess. Sense, motive, and speak language. Sense, motive, and speak language. All right. Now I head over here to page 57, and we check out 56. We check out what we have here. So the Force Adept is good at climbing. climbing, right? Backwater worlds, I guess. I don't know. Craft and handle animals. So we have another craft. We have handle animal. Listen and profession. Okay, that's profession from both. Sense motive and spot. Sense motive. Spot. Survival, swim, and treat injury. So we have survival, swim, and treat injury. So these are going to be all of his core classes. So let me assign some points to Tom based on the skill points that he has. Each of the classes has listed their first level skill points. So he is a force adept first because he was born a force. Well, this is interesting being a noble, right? Well, it's not like D&D and Rogue, or I think in here it's Fringer, where it's more important to have it as first. No, it's not. So it really doesn't matter which way we see this. So I'm going to say that he's been training unconsciously, organically, as a force adept. So that's his first class as force adept. Noble is technically then his second class. He was born a force adept. Yes, you can argue he was born a noble, but he had to learn to be a noble. Well, the force, just came natural to him. That's the way I see it. So I'm going to work on those points, and we're going to see how they turned out. Now, something to keep in mind with languages is you can use skill points. One thing to keep in mind about skills is that you can use skill points to buy languages. Otherwise, you're really dependent on your intelligence modifier. For each positive point of modifier in intelligence, you gain the ability to learn one extra language. So as of right now, with a 10 intelligence, we're looking at the common trade language, common, and we're looking at the Zeltron language, being the only two that this noble can speak. I kind of feel like I'm going to want to put a couple of points from skills into that. Yeah, I definitely feel like he should know some more languages. So looking at this is the way I worked out the skill points, and I really needed all the skill points there. So I made a call as a DM, and I decided to give Tom's noble 2 extra languages just for free because of the fact that he's been born and raised a noble. And I decided to go with 2 languages that may be a little bit more difficult. One of which I know there's a party member for, and that's Wookiee. So I wanted him to have Sharish. I wanted him to speak Wookiee, just in case no one else in the party takes it. And the other is Huttese. I don't know. I just kind of feel like being the major crime family and merchant families in the galaxy, it may behoove a nobleman to be able to speak to them, especially to get out of trouble. So moving forward, any points in intelligence that Tom may put into this character because of level advancement, he can always choose to add languages of his choice, or when he goes up in levels and gets more skill points, he can use skill points. But for right now, that's it. Common trade language, Zeltron, Sharish, and Huttese. I think that's good to start the noble with. Okay, taking another look just to make sure I was right, and I am. Tom is going to be starting with 1 feat. Besides this feat of Force Sense, which he got for free as a Force Adept. Being a first level character, all first level characters in this game, regardless of your class or your species, you do get the chance to start with 1 feat. So we're going to take a look and see which one I think is going to work best for him. I think I already know. I just want to go over that list one more quick little time. And because of who he is, what he is, I am going to give him that feat in Persuasive. Yeah. How could I have put it anywhere else? Now, the Persuasive is going to give him a +2 bonus on his skills of Bluff and Intimidate. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I completely missed diplomacy. What the hell was I thinking? Completely missed diplomacy on the skills. I was about to say, why is that not there? But yeah, okay. As a noble. But you know what? I think I was going to change... Affect mind, huh? Yeah, no, I almost thought to maybe change that to bluff as a class skill. The race skill for him because of noble. The freebie he gets. But no, I'm going to... You know what? I'm going to keep that free skill... I'm going to keep that in affect mind. Almost changed it, but I didn't. Okay. So, before I go over the sheet one last time, show you and tell you how everything fit and set up, I think the last thing I have to do is I got to assign this guy some equipment. Yeah, I definitely want to assign him some equipment. Now, I'm not going to worry about money, starting money right now. I'll give them some starting coin at the beginning of the adventure. But for this right now, because he's a noble, I definitely want him to have a vibro blade. Yeah. Even though he's not that good with melee weapons, a noble with a blade in a sci-fi setting seems fitting. And I think he's going to have a holdout blaster. Yeah, he doesn't need a big, huge pistol or rifle. That wouldn't be fitting for him. That wouldn't be fitting. Okay, so that is his two pieces of starting weapons, anyway. And I'll go over his gear. And go over his gear, and then I think that's going to be it. Gear, and then I'll show off the sheet. You'll see his skills, you'll see his gear, you'll see everything else. All right, sound good? Awesome. All right, so overall, this is the way the end of the sheet is looking after doing all that. So, Force Adept, Noble, Zeltron, second level character, first level of each of those two classes, 32 years old, male, 6 feet tall, 180 pounds, blue eyes, golden hair, pinkish skin tone. Here we have with his ability scores, 12, 14, 10, 10, 12, 22. With a 14 vitality, 10 wounds, defense of 12, speed of 10 meters, reputation of 1, base attack of 0, initiative is 3, because as a Zeltron he got that extra +1 bonus, has 3 force points. We're looking at his saves here. His fortitude is 1, his reflex is 4, his will is 5. He has a melee of 1, a ranged of 2, and he's packing a Mastercraft. I decided to give Mastercraft to both his holdout blaster and his vibroblade because he's noble. And they're well balanced and have aiming sights, giving him a +1 bonus on his attack with each of them. So his vibroblade is a +2 attack, and his holdout blaster is a +3 attack. Have their damage listed, their range listed, and their critical listed. Now, you know what I did? You know what I did for his skills? You're not going to like hearing this. I just did whatever I wanted. Really, second level character, he can worry about advancing per rules, per points, moving past second level. So I just, his really big things here are tied to his charisma, because his charisma is a 6. So things like his bluff, his diplomacy, his gather information, his intimidate. I mean, these are big scores for a low-level character. And that's what his specialty is. That's what he's going to be doing. He's talking. He's the talker. Now, on the other side, we got the other side of the sheet done here. A Rebel Era campaign. Has 1,000 experience points. Now, besides normal equipment you see there on the left, on the right column, I gave him 3 things that are unique to his race. 3 elixirs of infatuation. So, if he can get these into someone's drink or get someone to drink them, he'll have a will DC of 15. If they fail that, they become infatuated with the first person they see for a number of hours equal to 1d4 plus 1. I really thought that was fitting, so I just let him have it. Now, languages, Zeltron is a dead language, so he knows ancient Zeltron. I thought that would kind of be sexy. The common trade language is what he is his primary tongue. He also knows Duro, so I gave him a few extra, languages. Again, he's a diplomat. I really need him to be able to talk to people without a droid. Doros were the first space travelers, so I wanted to incorporate that. Hatish and Shriwuk, as I mentioned earlier. And I also gave him Rill. That's the language of the Twi'leks. I figured he likes Twi'lek women. I don't know. The only force feed he has is the one that he starts with, being a first level force adept, and that's alter in focus, please. There we go. And, because of his racial abilities, adding that +1 initiative, because of his quick, his empathy, and his pheromones, giving him bonuses within 30 feet of him, which is pretty big. And his entertainer as a permanent class skill. So for feats, I didn't go crazy. He has a force sensitive, is something that he starts with as a force adept. And I gave him trustworthy. I mentioned that. Persuasive I gave him. I also gave him trustworthy as a freebie. And then because of his class skills, his classes, he has primitive weapons, simple weapons, blaster weapons. And as a second freebie, I gave him vibro weapons. Just so he doesn't kill himself with that damn sword. And again, I went a little bit, I get a couple of bonuses for his force skills. But again, his alter and charisma are his highest abilities, such as his alter mind. Grand total of 10 ranks. Trying to go for that. Just like, he's also got high ranks in illusion. Convince people that they're seeing things that they're not. So that's it. That is how we got the character done for Tom, who is, don't forget, Rebel Scum. Thank you for watching this episode. I'm your buddy Big John Ed G for Two Gun Pixie presents legendary character creation, and I am out of here.